It's Wednesday night, and we're talking about why people hate truth. I've been talking about why they hate predestination, but why they hate the truth. They hate the truth because it's going to mess up their feather bed. Everybody in America, most people love false doctrine. It's popular in America. If you take their false doctrine, you throw it upside down, that's like them sleeping in a feather bed and you come in and pour syrup in their bed, a gallon of syrup, and say, sleep in that. That's what it's like. And when they go after the doctrine of the devil is the common word that we're talking about is D-A-I-M-O-N-I-O-N, daimonion. Daimonion is our word demon, or it's the word, actually what they translate into demon, and demon comes from, daimonion comes from the root D-A-I-O, and that means to distribute fortunes. And that demon worship came out of the same thing that Christmas comes out of. I was standing in my den, it was either today or yesterday, I think it was earlier today, and the TV was on. It wasn't very loud. I was standing there doing something, and all of a sudden, on the TV, I couldn't think of the name of the show, and I drove down to the post office, came back, I said, what was the name of that show? Had something to do with theory, something about space. And I kept thinking until I realized the title of the show was The Big Bang Theory. Have anybody seen that? It's a goofy show. It's got homosexuality in it. And the guy that's the star of the show, I couldn't remember his name. In the background, while I was turned away from it, all of a sudden I heard him say, he said something along the line of, well, Christmas is the feast of the Saturnalia, and Jesus wasn't born at December the 25th. He was born in the spring or the summer. I went, what? Here's a homosexual married to another homosexual man, and he knew the truth about Christmas being the feast of Saturn. I was, what, did he say that? I thought, I had an article on Drew Carey. Drew Carey is the comedian that hosts The Price is Right. And in this article, Drew Carey said he was on Johnny Carson's show, and Johnny asked him, what are you going to do for Christmas? He said, I don't celebrate Christmas. My mother told me that was pagan, so I quit celebrating it. Isn't it funny? Heathens know the truth about it, and people don't like it. It was the Saturnalia, that was a 7-day feast, and that homosexual knew the truth about it. Of course, knowing the truth is not going to save you if you don't believe God. It was just, I was just struck when it happened. Because if you say Saturnalia, believe me, my ears go bing. Because I preach on that. Now, I know that, but if you said Saturnalia, I'll hear it. So, I preached for about 2.5 or 3 years.
Dusky, yes, have a very good day for just saw your comment. I hope it's not too cold in Yellowknife. In Montreal it's pretty nice.
Now we're trying to blend demons with, it is the doctrine of the devil. Doctrine of the devil is to distribute fortunes, is what it is. Now, let's look here in 1 Timothy 4:1. In the latter times, the Bible says, this know also, that in the latter times, now the Spirit speaketh expressly, in the latter times some shall depart from the faith. Depart is the word aphistome. H-I-S-T-E-M-I. Aphistome is a synonym for A-P-O-S-T-A-S-I-S, because histome, there are no H's in the Greek, there's a little diacritical mark. Histome is a morpheme or a word shape of stasis. Now, the reason people don't like the truth is because they love false doctrine. False doctrine is easy. It's a Jesus that don't require death to self, daily cross, self-denial. It doesn't require being hated by the world. I call it an easy Jesus. Easy Jesus. You can read about that Jesus in 2 Corinthians 11 and verse 4. The easy Jesus is the problem with the world. The easy Jesus is not Jesus at all. The easy Jesus is Satan. It's Satan. That's who it is. The devil does not come wearing red suit, horns, and a tail with hooves around his feet. Didn't come looking like that. Where that came from, it was said that Nimrod was this great bull in some of the mythology of the Jews, and that Shem, second-born of Noah, went out and he killed Nimrod. But Nimrod was supposedly the man who started the Babylonian system. He called himself a mighty hunter, supposedly went out and killed a bull, great big bull, put the horns on his head, put the tail around his waist, and tied hooves around his feet. And that's where we get, you can tie that with Babylon. Babylon, the mother of harlots, was founded on, let us make us a name. That's the devastation of the world. Name is the word Shem. Shem was ruling the world, and Shem means authority. That's the word name. And they said, we like our own Shem. We want to be free without being tied to death to self, daily cross, self-denial. And that's aphistome. That's departing from standing upright, departing from stasis. Stasis has the basic same meaning as histome. It means to stand or be upright. Upright. And a man who was said to be standing or being upright in the first century was said to be bearing his cross, and cross is a form of stasis. It's the word staros. So, what men are going to do at the end of time, they're going to give heed to, they're going to pay attention. Heed means to pay attention to seducing spirits. Now that word seducing, the reason men like false doctrine, it's seducing. I went through seducing, I went through being deceived. This is just one of the words, deceived. Planos. Planos, there's several words that are tied together that has to do with this word, planos. Planos means a tramp or an imposter or one who misleads. That's what this word misleads. It is a form of several other words, which they have basically the same meanings. You have the word plane, P-L-A-N-E. It means fraudulent, straying from orthodoxy or for what is right. This is what the world's doing. They don't like definition of words. I was down here at Tractor Supply yesterday, and I got to talking to a young salesperson down there, and I was telling him about Christmas.
Billy, thanks for liking the stream. Have a good day.
And he looked at me and said, "What's wrong with the world today?" I said, "It's the apostasy." And I explained apostasy was leaving the uprightness and leaving the daily cross and death to self and self-denial and going to an easy gospel. And that's what the world is doing. They don't mind a gospel down here at the Big Baptist Church or the Big Church of Christ, but they don't want no daily dying in it. And resurrection, all but one time when you find in the Bible, is the word anastasis. Anastasis means to stand up, has this same word, stasis. It means up, to stand up after dying. And Paul said we as believers have to die daily. In 1 Corinthians 15:29, die daily. And anastasis is feminine gender every time it's mentioned, except the one time it means it is the resurrection of the believer as he dies daily. It would be like being persecuted. That's something hard for people to understand. The way you're crucified is you preach to somebody, you tell them the truth about Christmas. You don't have to be loud, you don't have to be noisy. Be firm. You tell them the truth about predestination. I told the orchid man today the truth about all this. He said, "That really sounds interesting." He said, "I may come tonight, I may not." Well, I hope he comes Sunday. But the point is that I preach to people, whoever it is. Mary got to preaching to him too. We both preached to him. I gave him several of the DVDs. He said, "I'm going to watch this." Well, it takes that, but if the man doesn't want to hear it, you leave him alone. And if you leave him alone and you see that look in their eye, that faraway look, and then the next time you see them, they don't want anything to do with you, that is a spiritual death they're bringing to your life. Death is the word thanatos, Thanatos, or Thanos, Thanos. And it means separation. It doesn't mean annihilation. So the way you die daily, you tell people the truth, and when you tell them the truth, they will separate from you. The next time they see you, they may see you at a distance, say, "Oh, hi there, John," or "Hi there, Dave. It's good to see you, but I don't have time to talk." They're separating from you. That's a spiritual death that they're bringing about in your life. Now, so when you depart from the faith, that's the same thing as apostasy. Apostasy means the removal of standing upright, a removal of standing upright. That word apostasis is the word falling away in second Thessalonians 2 and 3. The day of the Lord will not come except to come in apostasis. I like to put this on the board because another word that comes from that is apostasion, Stasion. And apostasion is the word, it's a form of this right here. Every time you find the word divorce, what this means is the world has divorced Christ. If you are faithful to Christ, you're going to follow him, aren't you? He said, when Jesus said, "Follow me," when he told Matthew, and Matthew left the seat of custom. The seat of custom, Matthew he was a tax collector. Being a tax collector, you were a publican. publican was one of the best paying jobs in the first century, but you were hated because you were a Jew and you had been appointed by Rome to collect the tribute money from the Jews in your area, and they had to pay the tax, and the publican could put on the top of it what he wanted to put on there. You remember the word teleos? It means to complete or perfect, to be perfect. Well, there's forms when the Bible says be therefore perfect. It's talking about being mature and growing up, or being complete. Well, the word telenes, T-E-L-E-N-E-S, telenes is the word publican. It means to finish or complete the sale. The last thing they do when you're checking out of a grocery store is put the tax on it. That's a telenes when they do that. That's the word publican. So you would collect the money and you got to keep the money above that, and the people hated you in Israel. And I was telling you that for a reason. I don't even know what I was saying. All right. So if we say you're serving the right Jesus, the easy Jesus is Satan. That's what 2 Corinthians 11:4 says. Paul said there's some people coming to Corinth, and they're preachers. They're preaching another Jesus, another spirit, and another gospel that I have not preached. You could preach a gospel that's not true. In fact, Galatians, the first chapter, Paul wrote that. He said, some come preaching a gospel which is not the gospel. He said it's not even another, it's the same gospel, and it's perverted. So you can preach a gospel. Here's how you can preach a gospel that's a perverted gospel. And this is what all the churches are preaching today. They're preaching the doctrine of Hymenaeus and Philetus. Hymenaeus and Philetus were two young preachers at Ephesus. And Paul says in 2 Timothy, these two young preachers they preached a doctrine that ate like a canker. The word canker is G-A-I-N-G-R, I'll get it right, G-A-G-G-R-A-I-N, G-A-G-G, gangranos. A doctrine that ate like a canker, gangranos, and that's our word gangrene. And here was their doctrine. They said the resurrection, the anastasis of the believer, and the reason it's the anastasis of the believer is because anastasis is feminine gender. And the believer is feminine because they are the church or the wife of Christ, the bride of Christ. So that's why it's feminine gender. And they preached that the resurrection of the believer was one time, and that was like a cancer. It was like a gangrene. I saw an article on gangrene on the internet that said if you don't cut a leg off or an arm off when it gets gangrene, you can lose the arm or the leg, and gangrene moves something like 6 inches in several hours. Moves fast. So, if it eats like a gangrene, they said the resurrection, which is the gospel according to 1 Corinthians 15:1-4, the gospel was past. Now, if you don't know how to look up past, get online. This is the gospel, another gospel. The gospel or the resurrection was past. That word resurrection is feminine gender. It cannot mean the resurrection of Jesus. It's the resurrection of the church as we die daily. And I'm trying to show you how the world loves false doctrine. They love a one-time resurrection in the past. Therefore, it means there's only one dying. Resurrection means to come to life after dying. I've had people say, well, I died, had a fellow tell me one time, well, I died when I accepted Christ. I said, no, you didn't. No, you have to die daily. When you die daily, the word past is the word G-I-N-O-M-E.
Kamaran, thanks for liking the stream. Have a good day.
It comes from the word Genea, G-E-N-E-A, which is the word over there in 2 Peter 2 and 12, that these as natural brute beasts were made or born to be taken and destroyed. Genomai means to cause to come into being. To cause to be. Hymenaeus and Philetus was saying, the resurrection,
Cyrus, thanks for liking the stream. Have a good day.
Verb. That means there was a past action that brought about the current condition of the person. It was a one-time action. It was the same thing. You go to a Baptist church and they give a testimony meeting, and somebody says, I got saved one night 30 years ago, and I hadn't had to do any dying since. I got saved. Had a story about a guy that got killed on a motorcycle, and he drank and he took drugs and he got killed on the cycle. And he was in his 30s, and somebody said, yeah, but he got saved when he was 8 years old. No, he didn't. You don't just walk the aisle, get saved, go out and get drunk, and take drugs and everything else the rest of your life. No, he did not. So, a one-time resurrection is a one-time gospel, and that's the easy gospel. All you have to do is walk the aisle, accept Christ, get saved, and you're home free, and you go live the way you want. Not true. He that hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. Now let's get back over to 1 Timothy 4:1. I hadn't finished up this. Some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits. That word seducing, plenos, means an impostor. It comes from planetes, P-L-A-N-E-T-E-S. Planetes, we get our word planet from that. A planet has no light. Our moon has no light. It's just a planet. It means a rover. It's one that goes around the earth, and we go around. We're a planet. Suns have light. They have fire. They're great big gaseous balls of fire. That's what our sun is. And we call them stars. Our sun is our nearest star. And we get the word planetes from that. And the place the moon gets its light, it reflects the light from the sun. Now, we also get the word planeo, P-L-A-N-A-O. Planeo. Now this is what happens when you go after another dog. Planeo means to cause to wander and be planeo, to be out of the way. Or what is the way that we are in? It's the narrow way. It means to cause. When you go after seducing spirits and doctrines of distributing fortunes, you're going to cease the narrow way. And you're not going to be in tribulation for what you're saying. Narrow, remember, and I'm going to talk about some things that we cease when we depart from faith. We depart from death to self. Faith is death to self. I'm going to put it on the board again. It's my favorite equation, algebra equation in the Bible. It's my favorite definition in the Bible of faith. We'll come back over here, but look at Hebrews 11:1. This will tell you, if you depart from the faith, you got to know what you're departing from. You're going to depart from what faith's definition is and what it does. When you go after distributing fortunes, you're going after self. Now, if you try to tell the world,
Sasmita, have a good day.
there's no such thing
Thanks
as
for liking the
demons,
stream.
but demons are you. Demons are self. When Jesus said, any man after me, he didn't say if, any man after me, let him deny himself. He didn't say let him deny his demons. Let him deny himself. Deny aparneomai. Usually when you find the word deny, it's only Apo means off with, totally deny. Arneomai means to contradict. So you have to completely remove self and contradicting self. When I say contradict self, people think, well, does that mean to give away everything that you got and everything you own? No. It means contradict self. I had a guy who used to come here when we first started this ministry. He said, I saw a couch the other day and I denied self. I didn't buy it. I said, you didn't deny self, you denied the couch. If you deny self, your whole life will be lived for others. Is it that way when you're young? No. Is it that way when you get older? Well, you start moving into that in your 60s and your 70s. You move into living for others. It's hard to live for others when you're in your 20s, when you're in your 30s. Even when you're in your 40s, it's awful hard to live for others. I was living for me at 42, 43 years old. I was living for self. I was trying to get rich and minister.
Randy, thanks for liking the stream. Have a good day.
People, I was thinking, I made this money. This is mine. What do you mean give you some of it? We're talking about what is it to depart from the faith. Everything that faith is. Look here in Hebrews. This is my
Alex, thanks for following. Have a good day.
Equation. An equation has an equal sign in the middle of it. Has an equal. One side of the equation is equal to another side of the equation.
Lewin, thanks for liking the stream. Have a good day.
Equal. Equal, instead of the word equal, there's an equal sign. Equal, like that. So this side equals this side. That's what it says.
Randy, this is American Truck Simulator.
And when you find the word is,
Bunny, thanks for liking the stream. Have a good day.
The equal signs. Because is, this is that. This is equal to this over. That's what an equal sign means. Now, when the scripture says here in Hebrews 11:1,
Alex, I'm doing fine, driving a truck, listening to some Bible stuff. Thanks for following, Bunny.
Any lexicon. Lexicon means dictionary. It's just a word study dictionary. Now, faith is. So let's just put equals.
Banajin, if I'm not wrong, thanks for liking the stream.
I put this on
Kumar,
so
thanks for liking
times,
the stream.
I wonder if people are getting it when I put it up here. Faith is. Faith equals substance. Faith equals evidence. Let me put another equation down there. Faith equals evidence. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. It's the evidence of things not seen. So faith is the substance. Now I heard Fred Price say, substance, that's things, that's cars and houses and stuff. No, it's not. That's not the word. Faith is hypostasis. Faith substance is hypostasis. If you depart from the faith, you depart from hypostasis. That's what you do.
Alex, I speak English and French. Sorry, I cannot speak Spanish. Maybe hola.
Means under.
Zion Holder, thanks for liking the stream. Have a good day.
We've already talked about stasis tonight. On apostasis or apisteme. Erase that, I'll put it up here again. We've already talked about that. Hupo means under, stasis means to stand. So if you depart from faith, you depart from understanding. Get to where you can't understand anything. If you understand something, that's a foundation. In fact, understand has the same meaning as a foundation. Actually, hupo means sub. A submarine is under the marine or under the water. So sub and to stand, something that's sub, if you have a foundation, it's under the ground. Substanding. A substanding is a foundation. And you have to build on a foundation. I got a lot to say about the foundation. Themelios. Themelios. It comes from the word titheme.
Let's see. I'm heading.
Titheme means to lay out.
I'm heading to.
Jesus said, "I lay down my life for my friends."
Wentachi, something like that.
Substance, which
so let's continue.
It means to understand. If you go to take a class up here at Vol State Community College, and you've never had algebra before, if Mike's teaching up there, you have to crucify yourself if you've never had algebra or whatever he's going to teach you. You have to crucify yourself. You can't go in there and say, you know what I think about algebra? The teacher's going to say, would you be quiet? We don't care what you think. I'm fixing to teach you some axioms and some postulates. Listen. You have to crucify self to listen to the teacher, don't you? You must. You're going to learn something? So that's understanding. You have to have an understanding mind to learn. And a learner, the word disciple is the word learner. Disciple is the word learner. It's one who learns. The word it is the word mathetes. And the word learn is the word manthano. It is a form of mathetes, manthano, to learn. And the word teacher is the word matheteuo. Notice they all have basically the same structure. This is teacher. This is learner. And keep in mind, to understand means you're going to be a learner and a disciple. So faith equals substance. It's understanding, and that's equal to being a learner. This is one equation. Now, in order to be a disciple, look at Luke 14. Luke 14, 26 and 27. 14. All right. Jesus said in verse 26, if any man will come after me and hate not his father, mother, wife, children, and brethren, and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my learner. So you have to hate self. What do you mean hate my mother? If she's not a believer, there's nothing good in her to love. If your brothers and sisters are not, that's why Jesus said, my brothers and my sisters are those who do the will of the Father. These are my brothers and sisters here, not Dean Brown's not my brother, Janice is not my sister. My brothers and sisters are those who do the will of the Father. They have to do the will of the Father to be my kinfolks. So then he goes on to say, and whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my learner, my disciple. That comes by a cross. So, substance equals understanding. Understanding equals a learner equals a cross. Things equal to the same thing or equal to each other. So a cross is equal to a disciple, that's equal to understanding, and that's equal to faith. Faith is a daily cross, it's death to self. I think I've explained this better than I've ever explained it. Can you see that? There has to be death to self in order to follow Christ. I was going to tell you a while ago, this word planeo means to be out of the way. There's a narrow way. Narrow is the word thelebo. And Jesus said, anyone after me, let him deny himself, take up the cross, and follow me. That word follow means to be in the same way with. The way is narrow. Thelebo comes from the word thelipsis. One is the verb, the other is the noun. And thelipsis is the common word tribulation. You have to go through tribulation. Paul said we must through much tribulation. Every time you find the word tribulation, it's the word thelipsis. It's a form of thelebo. It's a form of the narrow way. And when you give heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of distributing fortunes, you leave Christ, you divorce Christ, you're apostate, and you're divorcing Christ, but it don't mean you're unsaved. It means God's going to beat you with an inch of your life. If you belong to him, he's not going to let you get away from him at all. Boy, he has whipped me to no end. He even says down here in verse 33, 33. So likewise, whosoever is be of you that forsaketh not all that he hath cannot be my disciple, my learner. How do you forsake all that you have? You don't give it all away, because if you gave it all away, I keep saying this. If you gave everything away, you'd have to give away every stitch of clothing you got. You have to make you a grass skirt, jump over in the weeds, and when somebody else comes along, take your grass skirt off and give that to them too. And then you have to make you another grass skirt. It doesn't mean to give up things, it means to give up self, where things don't matter and you're willing to take a stand for the truth regardless of the cost. That's one of the reasons why people hate truth. I've had more people say this: it costs too much. Tracy, when she was here years ago, she had a friend. She kept telling, you need to come over. She told her about Christmas. She told her about predestination. She said, you need to come visit us. And her friend said, but I can't. He said, you can't. She said, no, I can't. Well, why can't you, Tracy said. And she said, it costs too much. People know the cost of believing in predestination, death to self, daily cross. A lot of times I'll have some man say, boy, that really sounds good. I know what happens. They go home and tell their wife. She says, I'm not giving up my Christmas. You think I'm giving it up? You're wrong. And it makes, usually the wives are the ones that get angry over it. And I'm not going to, I don't like the idea that I don't have any choice. Well, you don't. I've had people say, well, I'm just going to go to hell. Well, you sure are. And you're not going to like it when you get there. I'm talking about the things we have to give up. We give up, so when we follow, when people preach something to you that gets you out of the narrow way, you're on the wrong path. You can't have your way. I've said this 1,000 times. Jesus doesn't say it's my way or the highway. He says it is my way. There is no highway for you. You belong to me. And you will walk right. This is awful hard for young people to take. Because you got all these hormones running through your body and you get excited and you want to go out and make a lot of money and have a great career and buy this car and buy this house and have these things and have these clothes and have this stuff. Well, work, get as much education as you can, but if you come into a situation where you can make a lot of money, don't just spend it on yourself, and don't spend it all up giving it away to others. Be a good steward of what he gives you. Don't just blow money. We were talking about a car that Mary saw today, and they looked it up on the internet, and it was a Mercedes, and it was $140,000 where they started. And I said, if I had the money, I wouldn't buy one of them. If somebody left me $10 million, I got something better to do than buy a $140,000 car. I would, first of all, I'd buy a building. I'd outfit it with what we needed, about 150 people. I would go on TV all over the country, and I'd keep driving the car I got. There was a time that cars meant something to me. They don't mean nothing now. Cars are for getting from this place to this place, and that's all. I don't care about fancy cars. I quit caring about them. I hit somewhere in my late 60s. I wanted to buy me one of those four-door Jeeps at one point. That's the last car I wanted. But I was 66, 67. I don't even want one of them now. If you're going to buy one for me, would you give me the money so I can put it in the TV film instead of buying me a car? I don't need a car. And that's the way I feel. Why would I buy a diamond ring? So I could flash it. 5-carat diamond ring on my pinky, and I could say, death to self, daily cross. If any man will come after me, let him deny himself. You're going. I don't believe in that. Used to, when I was in the music business, I had a diamond ring, had all kinds of jewelry. I don't even wear that stuff anymore. It makes me nervous. Now, I wear a watch. I told the guy where I bought this watch, I said, I don't care what time it is in Japan. A watch is just to keep time so I'm not late to church. That's all it's for. Or for appointments to the doctor, I gotta know what time I gotta be there. Now, where was I? Gosh, I could talk more about the seducing spirits. Being out of the way. Demon means to distribute fortunes. I was going to tell you something here. Now, if you leave faith, you go to the doctrine of devils. You go to the doctrine of distributing fortunes to yourself. Distribute fortunes. That's what you do. That's the flesh. Boy, it's really hard when you're young to know the difference between distributing fortunes and meeting your need, isn't it? It's awful hard. You don't know where the division is. Work hard, do a good job, and whatever you do, whatever your hand finds to do it all to the glory of God. Do it with your might. Do the best job you can do. When you get promotions, be very...
Obakang, thanks for liking the stream.
I'm not saying
have a good day.
Buy a Chevrolet. Don't buy something that people say, look at that person that's always talking about death itself and David Cross. They got that big new Cadillac out there. Some of these people up here at TBN, they believe that you can say it with your mouth and get it. That's called positive confession. And they even, I heard one of them say, you can stipulate when you tell God, I want this Cadillac that you want gold trim, gold wheels, and gold doorknobs. You're an idiot. All of you are idiots up there. And you get to take that gold with you to hell one day. Now, what is it that you're departing from? Everything that faith is. So here's what some of the things you're departing from. Well, I forgot to finish that up. Faith is evidence. Faith equals evidence. So you're going to depart from evidence. E-L-E-G-C-H-O-S. It's a form of E-L-E-G-C-H-O. It's the same spelling with an S on the end. Elenkos is evidence. The evidence that you depart from is down there on the evidence table. It's the gun with your fingerprints on it. It's the knife with your fingerprints on it. It's the thing that condemns you. You're going to depart from being condemned, and this word elenko is rebuke. You're not going to accept rebuke for your sin. So you're going to depart from that. Boy, that's really hard to understand. When you're wrong about something, just drive the way to sin wrong. God forgive me. That's true humility, is being able to own up to your sin. If you don't do that, you're not repenting. Rebuke brings about repentance. Repentance means being turned, metanoia, means to be turned and think differently. Your thinking is not going to change. You're going to go to thinking like the world. But you're going to depart from that because you refuse to be rebuked. So everything that faith is and faith does is what you'll depart from. Right? Doesn't that make sense? In the latter time, some shall depart from everything faith is and everything it does.
Hitesh, thanks for liking the stream.
Understanding.
Have a good day.
When you think about yourself, you don't understand God or the Bible. When I say faith, this is what you want to depart from. Faith worketh by love. You're going to depart from love, and that word is agape. You're going to depart from agape. When you depart from faith and you go after
BTSRM, thanks for liking the stream. Have a good day.
It takes getting older to understand. You don't need to work your brains out just to have money and things and stuff. Use your money wisely. One time I sold a house to a doctor out on the lake. Never had a sale before or after that. And I made a $20,000 commission. I didn't go out and buy a car all of a sudden. I put it in the bank, kept it so I could buy the house I wanted when I had some more money with it. And I kept driving the old car around. You got to plan ahead if you want certain things in life. I'm going to get me the car I want. I got this money, I'm going to get it, and then it costs you an arm and a leg, get insurance on it. It doesn't matter what you have or what you drive or where you live.
Jamie D, thanks for following. Have a good day.
That's what we're supposed to be doing. My life now is about others. That's what I think about every day. People that are in trouble, that need my help. I get on the phone, I talk to people long distance. We send money here and there to various people that are not on our welfare list every month. I may send somebody $50 they having a hard time.
Salman, thanks for following. Have a good day.
But I have to check them out. I don't just send money. Hey, here's you $50 and I'll give you 50, whoever you are. I have to check you out, find out if you really mean what you're saying.
Jayavant without an accident. Jayavant, thanks for following. Have a good day.
2 John 6 says, this is love, this is agape, that we walk.
Black, this is American Truck Simulator. So yeah, thanks for commenting.
Depart from, in the latter time some shall depart from agape, because faith works by agape, and agape, I keep saying this, I'm not saying it for you, I'm saying it for somebody who's watching. Agape is not phileo. These are the two words that have been translated to love. Agape is a relationship that kings
Black, thanks for following. Have a good day.
That fathers had for their children, and they gave them laws and they willingly walked in them. That's why 2 John 6 says, this is agape, this is love, that we walk after his commandments. So if you depart from faith, you're going to depart from walking after the commandments of God. Boy, that, you know where that takes us? Everywhere all over the Bible. If you depart from the faith, everywhere you've got an imperative mood that Jesus is speaking, you're going to depart from that. That's a command. Because you're going to depart from walking after his commandments. You're departing from love, which is agape. Phileo just means to have affection for. You can have affection for anything. You can have affection for your dog, your car, for ice cream or whatever, even drugs.
Tejas, thanks for liking the stream. Have a good day.
That. But this has to do, agape has to do with the commandments of a king. So, you're going to depart from agonizon, agonizomai is the word strive. You're going to depart from striving and the agon, the arena, and you're not going to say anything that's going to get you in trouble with the world where they're going to say hard things about you. Where's that? Here it is. Here's the agon. Well, I can't get it to come on. Which one of them do I push?
Sanli Kumar, thanks for liking the
I
stream.
can't get it to come on.
Hi from to South Africa to Obakeg. Sorry, I'm butchering your names. It's difficult. You have long names. Not used to them.
Huh? Is it working? Well, don't worry about that. I'm going to stand up here for 10 minutes. But the agon was the arena where they would feed the Christians to the lions and let the gladiators come and kill them. That's the word strive. You're going to depart from fighting the good fight of faith. Paul said, fight the good fight. Fight is the word.
Yes, of course. This is American Truck Simulator. It's to respond to Sanil Kumar's
fight the good,
comment.
agonize over this good fight of faith, where you're going to have to be thrown into the Agon in front of the people and slaughtered and butchered, and you'll depart from that. You say, what's so fun about agonizing? As you get older and self begins to die off more than when you're young, what's so frustrating is to be young and having a whole lot of self in you, and you don't know how to die, and you think dying is miserable, but it's not. When you learn to die to the flesh and give up self, life becomes more tolerable. It's a lot easier because you're not trying to be somebody, you're not trying to get rich. You just live on a straight line and say, I'm going to live and behave myself, and life gets easier when you're not frustrating over things and stuff. Being young is hard. It's hard in the world. Well, let me give you some more things so when the Bible says, faith worketh by love in Galatians 5 and 6, if you depart from the faith, you're going to depart from everything that agape is. Well, turn over to 1 Corinthians 13.
Oh, Baki, I guess I have a TV in front of me. I'm playing on a 43-inch monitor screen. So yeah, this is my setup. And I have another monitor to follow the comments and likes and shares. And there's lots of you who share and like, so thanks a lot.
The Bible says, in 1 Corinthians 13, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not agape, I'm just making a noise. When he says, although I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and have all faith so that I can remove mountains, and have not agape, having faith without agape is having a call without a motive. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not agape, the word is agape, it's not charity. Though I have not walking in the commandments of God, it profits me nothing. And here's what you'll depart from. Everything that agape is. Charity suffereth long. You won't have any patience with people. When you're seeking self, you're seeking the doctrine of devils. Macrothumia, Makrothuhumia. That's the word suffereth long. It comes from thumos, put up with, a long time before you lose it. You won't have any patience with people, and then he says it suffereth long and is kind. If you have agape, you'll be Christatos. You won't be nice to people, you'll be kind to people. Kind, and you'll go after the doctrine of self, devils, demoniac. A demon doesn't enter in anywhere in this. If you're going after doctrines of demons, you're going after self. I know this is hard. Isn't it hard to learn this? It's been hard on me, but gosh, I've gotten old, and I don't even want to go after self anymore. It's too hard to lift myself up. It's just too hard. Somebody else can say, I got this new car, so that's really nice. Now, let's talk about Jesus. It's just boring to me to talk about everything that somebody's got. You ever been around anybody, and as long as you talked about them, they would sit there and talk to you, but when you change the subject and started talking about anything but them, they wanted to leave. I got a brother like that. You talk about him and his.
Kramul, thanks for following. My stream is ending now, so there is many of you who's watching. So I'm sorry, I'll have to turn it off. Thanks again. I'll play tomorrow morning, like usually, and join up. So very, very happy to see you all here. Thanks a lot, and I'm gonna turn it off slowly. I'm gonna find a parking place and yeah, turn it off. Have a good day, everyone.
They may need the truth. When Paul said, "My God shall supply all your need according